Hello, everybody. I'm Roger Wakefield. Welcome to the YouTube channel and Facebook and everywhere else that we are. This is a very special evening because, number one, y'all have heard me go live before. You know that we do the Q&A. We know that we have a lot of fun in here. But today is really special because today, number one, this video is sponsored by Ferguson. This is the kind of thing that we sponsor or that we work with sponsors like Ferguson for. Number one, we have got two fantastic people in here that just so happen to win a contest, and they are vote for a tradesman to win. Okay, so the winning tradesman, we can do it. It is women in the trades. And I have two very special people, and I'm going to see if I can bring both of them in here. Looky there. Let me first of all go through here and unmute them. I always do that during the live stream just so everybody knows everything's good. There we go. Here's the thing. I've got Jaylyn and I've got Sarah here. Now, Jaylyn is from out in the Washington, D.C. area. Sarah is from the Denver, Colorado area. And, man, we got plumbers here. So I love this. So first of all, Sarah, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Good. Miss Jaylyn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. So Sarah was able to jump in a little bit earlier. We got to talk to her and get to know her and have a good time. Now, I'm going to jump over in the comments real quick just because I've already got people in here. And I like this. This is Yay Lady Plumbers. So let me start off at the top. Mr. Colton, happy Monday to you. We got RoboSeal, can't wait. Austin Burks, good afternoon. How are you? Lindsay Soapco says, yay, Lady Plumbers here. Look, I love this. And I've made videos before where I talk about this because to me this is just a really neat deal. I've said all along that women can get in the trades and not just do well. The women that I know in Texas that are in the trades, they do very well. And I'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. And then I'll talk about it a little bit, and then I'm going to introduce them and let them get in here and start talking. But I also want them to answer some questions today. JT97 says, hello. Abdul Kayumi, how are you? Castles Keep sent a super chat. Says, been a plumber for 21 years, New York City. New York City, I hate my job and wish I stayed in school. Man, number one, if you hate your job, I feel sorry for you. So, Jaylyn, let's start off with you. Do you hate your job, or do you really kind of love what you do?
I absolutely adore what I do. I love just the change. I love that every day is something different and new jobs and new experiences, and you're never doing the same thing once. It's not like you're sitting at a desk and you do the same mundane things every day. In construction, it's fun to get to change it up and get to see with your own eyes every day all the progress that you make and all the things that you get done.
I'll tell you what, I think that's really neat. And to me, that's what I love most about service plumbing is it's a different problem every single day. And now Sarah, I said that, they're both plumbers, but Sarah is also an HVAC technician. And that's really what she's been doing lately. Are you still going to school for it, Sarah, or you're already a certified HVAC technician also?
Well, I actually graduate next week, so I'm pretty much there.
Congratulations. Good for you. I love that. Says Train Time Boy says, why is my water purple? I don't know. Did you put Kool-Aid in it or anything like that? Do y'all see purple water anywhere?
No, not
Not
unless it's
very
colored.
often.
No.
Not very often. Antonio Calvo says Colorado, says Denver, baby. I love that. Sarah, I believe you have a fan in here. It says from Andrew Flores. He says, that's my sis.
Yeah, it's my brother. He's
Good
also a
deal. Hey,
plumber.
that's a good deal. I like that. Is he a plumber too?
Yep, yeah, it runs in the family.
That's a good thing. And the good thing is,
We're third
Jalen, it runs in your
generation.
family too. Both of you are third generations?
Yes, our grandpa was a plumber out of the army, and then my dad picked up plumbing from him, and I picked up plumbing from my dad.
That is pretty cool. And Jalen, you had pretty much about the same story, right?
Yep, my grandfather started after he was in the Marines, and then my dad took over, and now I'm being trained by him.
I love that. And my dad was a communications worker of America. He was in telephone telegraph industry. It was great, but I tell you what, one of my best friends was a plumber, and he's the one that got me into the trades, and I just love it. Robert Lesky Jr. says women plumbers, cool. Chelsea and Dex V says, I'm a plumbing apprentice in my local union, and I love this channel. You've always got good tips and advice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Castles Keeps is nice. Good on her. And I like this. JT97 says, shout out to Lumax. I don't know if he means my Luminex watches, or is that one of y'all's companies? No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sarah is awesome. You gotta love when you get family in here. Abdul Kayumi says all plumbers drink brown lumpy water. No, I promise we don't. Matter of fact, we know how to keep you from drinking brown lumpy water. So let's go back. Jalen, let's ask this. How long have you been in the trade? How did you come up through it? And what have been the biggest aha moments in coming up in the trades, but also learning and growing and doing things like that? What's just been your big things like, wow, this is really cool?
So like I said, my grandfather started our company, and then my dad took over, and then I started I started working for a nonprofit organization that goes and rebuilds homes after natural disasters. And I traveled around and did construction there. But I already had a construction company that was in my family. So I started working for my parents. It's a big family company, both my grandparents and both my parents and my uncle, and it's all the family. But I started working for them in the office, learning like project management, and kind of learning the ins and outs of how the office works, and how, everything happens on, behind the scenes. And then I started working in the field when I was 19, and I was trained by. We have other employees that have been working for us for a very long time. So I was trained by them and trained by my dad. And it's just a cool experience to be able to learn and grow as like in your career field, but also be surrounded by family, and you have that support. And it's cool that I can go to my dad and say, hey, I don't understand why this isn't working, or I can't figure it out. And I've tried troubleshooting and I can't get this. And he's just like, did you try this? And I'm like, nope, I'm going to do that now.
And I love that. Not here's what you do. It's, well, did you try this? That way we learn by putting things in our mind and then trying different things. So I like that. Sarah, how did you get started? Did you start out, in a plumbing truck and commercial and residential and in service or new construction? How'd you get started? And what was it along the way that made you just say, wow, you know what? I really do like this.
Well, I was working with my dad to put myself through my second half of college, and we did residential, commercial, some industrial plumbing. And when I moved to Colorado, I got on with a local company here doing residential plumbing. Didn't like being too much of a salesman, and I went to commercial HVAC as a pipe fitter, expanded from there to become an installer. After being an installer for about 2 years, moved into being a service tech. So it's just kind of progressed as I've grown in the trade.
I like that. So Castle's Keep says Melissa Brotherson, Local 1, welding queen and new union instructor. And number one, if you're in Local 1, anybody, well, in Castle's Keep, whether that's you or Melissa Brotherson, is there an instructor there still named John Cullen? I went to the instructor training program with him, and he is fantastic. And sorry, your brother says he taught you everything that he knows, or everything. Yeah,
Well-
I guess everything he knows. Hopefully, you've learned more since then.
Yes, I've learned way more since then.
Kyle Ackerman, hello to you. Baba Chic 1000 says hi. King the Pill, plumbing is serious hard labor. You know, and I got to tell you, plumbing used to be. Plumbing used to be. I'm going to say harder because I remember when I started out commercial work, I'd literally throw 6-inch cast iron pipe up on my shoulder, carried up a ladder, put it in. It's just tons of fun. But I mean, now we've got tools and equipment and things to do that. Do either one of y'all, and Jalen, let's start with you. Do you think that plumbing is really hard physical labor? Do you think that it's something that equipment and tools make it easier?
Oh, definitely equipment and tools make it easier. My grandfather comes out to jobs sometimes and sees us all working with power tools. And he's like, back in my day, I had to use a hacksaw. Like, we didn't have anything like that. And it took more time. So now projects can be done more quickly and more efficiently because we have tools. And it really, like, the tools help you do the job so that you can work smarter and not harder.
I like that. And I'll tell you what, and I did this when I was a superintendent. We had some apprentices come back from lunch one day, and they had been cutting. God, I don't know if they were cutting. It wasn't they were cutting steel rod, and I think it was some 1/2-inch rod that we were using for spacing and some different things. We came back from lunch, and one of them came in and says, "Hey, man, I'm going to let you know, somebody stole our Sawzall." It's like, well, did y'all leave it out? And they said, well, yeah. I said, why? And they said, man, we just missed it. I said, okay. I said, part of your bag, your tool bag, each one of you have a hacksaw. So the last half of the day, they had to cut 1/2-inch steel rod with a hacksaw. And after doing that, I promise, they constantly looked for their tools every day when it was time to pick them up, and they didn't leave anything else. So it's different. Sarah, what do you think? Do you think, and you and I talked a little bit about this earlier, do you think it's really hard labor? And I don't just mean as a woman, I mean a man or a woman. And we talked about it earlier. Look, this is nothing so hard a woman can't do.
Right. It's not. I mean, you definitely have, some bigger equipment to work with. If you're breaking slab, just cutting into that concrete can be a little tedious, but it lasts a second. If you're doing something tedious, you can always switch out for something else. There's lots of things to do on the job site.
I love that. And that's the thing. Number one, there's always things to do, which, man, that can be a problem for a lot of people. I used to find people that, or not find, I'd have people that would try to find ways not to do stuff. It's like, look, if you'll just find the right way to get in there and do stuff, you'll be fine. I want to go to a comment that I saw here just a second ago. First of all, Castle's Keep says she's faking it. And I got to tell you, from talking to these ladies, I don't think there's any faking it. They really do. Both of y'all understand plumbing out in the field and how to do the work, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I figured so. So Miss Sergio says, hello, Master Plumber. I had my sink get clogged last night and it started to overflow as laundry string downstairs. Guessing there's a clog somewhere in the pipes. Any tips for helping me out? Now, do either one of y'all do service plumbing? And I know, Sarah, you're doing HVAC now, but Jalen, do y'all do service plumbing or are y'all strictly new construction?
We're strictly new commercial construction.
I did that for about 25 years here in the Union in Dallas. Soroga, there is definitely a clog somewhere, and I figured to sink, but you need to figure out where it is. If you've got a sink downstairs that it's overflowing from, it's going to be down lower than that. Hopefully there's a wall clean out there or something. You can go in and get to that. Castle Keep says, I'm so pumped to see more women in my trade. Love the channel. Keep it going, and congrats on the graduation. So, Sarah, that's to you. Congratulations. Kyle Ackerman says, question for the ladies. Are people usually surprised when their plumber technician is a woman? And I guess, Sarah, this would really be for you because you're going out doing HVAC work. Does it surprise them when you knock on the door and you're like, hey, I'm here to fix your air conditioning?
Yeah, I was on call a couple weekends ago, so I had the on-call phone. I answer it, and I'm taking down all the notes and getting all the necessary information. And the guy says, "Well, have the tech call me when they get here." I was like, "Okay, I'll call you in a couple minutes." And he's like, "No, the tech." I was like, "Yeah, I'm the tech." And when he saw me, when I showed up to the job site, he's like, "Oh man, I didn't know. I thought you were just like the receptionist or something." So he was humbled a little bit.
And I like that you explained, well, I'm the receptionist, I'm the technician, and I'm the money collector. So I'm going to take care of all of the above. That's a good thing. I
Yeah.
like that. Castle Keeps says, way to go, Flores family. And then Lincoln Cabrera, the third, says third generation plumber from Kauai, Hawaii. I'll tell you what, I'd like to be a plumber over there. Kyle Ackerman says, because like the universal image of any labor job is usually a male character. So how does that affect your day-to-day jobs? Are there things that you feel affect your work because you're a woman? I mean, and I know that a lot of guys may look at you and think, oh, she can't do that. Trust me. That thought doesn't go through my mind because I've seen enough women do it. Do y'all have any problems during the day-to-day?
Do you want to go ahead, Jalen?
Sure. Yeah, being on a commercial job site, you run into lots of people. There's like 500 people on the job site that I'm on now. And, you get looks and people think that you're just like the cleaning lady, or on the job that I'm on now, I'm a foreman. And when other people see me like walking around and reading plans and doing layout, they're like, what's going on? But it's cool. It's cool to have women on the job site, regardless of what their job is. We kind of build a little bond of we're all here doing this, and it gets really cool, especially when there's multiple women on the job site, because we're all friends and we get to talk to each other about what's going on the job, and it's fun.
I like that. So Ruth B. here says, third generation carpenter, first female one. I love my job. Abdul says, what do you think of UA Local 38? And I don't know all the local numbers. I think there's good things and bad things about the union. There's good things and bad things about open shop. So, and it's different for everybody. If you're hardcore commercial construction, the union probably has a good share of that work across the country. I think they've got a good training program. But as either one of these ladies here can tell you, just like me, I just went to work for a company open shop. Luckily for me, I worked for some great plumbers starting out. That helped me get a good, solid foundation. And man, I learned to build upon that. Sarah, you started open shop and have been open shop your whole life. Do you learn from working from a lot of people? Do you think that's a good way to learn?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and there's just when you learn from multiple people, you find out your own path on how to do things. So it's just a good source of knowledge to know how different people do it.
I like that. And Jalen, what about you? Did you started out, I'm assuming, in the family business? Did you just get thrown out in the field under different plumbers, different technicians, where you learn different ways, or did you just kind of stick with one all the way through your career?
No. So my first job that I was on was a movie theater, and I worked under our most senior plumber. And I learned a lot about what it looks like to do layout, and I learned different skills from each person that I work with. So the next job I was on, I was with a different foreman, a different plumber, And so I got to learn a different aspect of work. So we were doing, I was doing copper on the first job, and then I was doing, sanitary and grease lines on the second job. And then I learned gas, and each person has each person that I've been trained by has a certain skill set that they really excel at. And so being able to learn from multiple different plumbers what they're best at, and then being able to apply that to the work that I'm doing, I feel like made me a more well-rounded plumber because of all the people that I was able to learn from.
I love that. I think that's phenomenal. So luckily for me, the first plumbers that I started out with, man, I worked with two amazing plumbers. And I mean, I look back to them at this day and think, you know what, I learned some of the best things that I've learned from these two guys. But I can also tell you, I've worked with some plumbers that I'd look at them, it's like, this is how I don't want to do things. And you got to be smart enough to be able to look at somebody and say, that this is not something I want to learn or the way I want to do it. Have you ever worked with any plumbers that you're just like, this is a plumber I probably don't want to work with again? Either one of y'all been, or even an HVAC technician. Sarah, let's start with you. Have you come across those? You're like, the biggest thing I got from this plumber was what not to do.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be, a handful of those bad apples, in every company. And you learn what not to do from them, and you grow and improve based on their mistakes. So you don't have to make the same mistakes.
Jaylyn, how about you?
I have personally never run into that. Our guys have been with us for a very long time, and they knew me when I was a little kid, and now they're training me. But I've definitely been on job sites with multiple different plumbing contractors and seen other plumbing work. I don't want my stuff to look like that.
Good for you. I like that. Kyle Ackerman says, Roger, can you teach us your ways of the mustache? Man, I guess the easy thing is you've either got it or you don't. Rudolph KF says, Ura Marine. Yes. First of all, Miss Sarah, thank you for your service in the Marine Corps. I think that's great. I guess they looked you up and found you or something. Abdul Kayumi says, local 38 apprentices start at $33 an hour, and journeymen make $80 to $120 hourly. Now, so where is local 38? I mean, I could look it up. I'll figure it out later. But look, I've been saying for a long time, and Sarah, I talked to you about it earlier. I truthfully think here in the near future that plumbers, HVAC techs, and electricians are probably going to be making $100 an hour on the check if you're a good one. And the reason being, the average median age for plumbers in Texas is, I believe, 58 years old. For every 10 people that retire in the trades every year, only 4 or 5 are getting back in. And that's going to create a big supply and demand issue. Jaylyn, are y'all having problems getting enough plumbers to fill your needs every day, every year, anything like that?
I mean, I would say that in the future, we definitely will have, problems because some of our plumbers have been with us for 20 years and they're, getting to a point where they're ready to retire. And so having to train the younger plumbers that we have in order to take over those positions and then have someone for them to train up is, I think, going to be a struggle that we're going to have in the future.
Sarah, what do you think that we can be doing better to recruit more people into the trades?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is, on-the-job training, letting people know that you don't have to go to school to succeed in the trade. So you can do on-the-job training and get paid just as well.
I like that. To me, it is, and I try to get out and speak to schools. I try to get out for career days and do different things like that. I think it'd be good to see more females out doing stuff like that. I think that could literally help us all, because I do think that there is a need for more females in the trades. Drain Medic says, Roger, my wife Shelly has been running drain calls for the last 8 years, started a YouTube channel a year ago to encourage more women in the trades. I think that is fantastic. Well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. Yasirik Rikrab. says plumbing company owner. Good for you. And if I got that name wrong, I am completely sorry. Theodosia Rochester says fellow lady woman apprentice, 21 and 4 months into my apprenticeship. I love it. Got very excited when I saw the title of the live stream. So, Sarah, let's go to you first. A woman apprentice, 21 years old and only 4 months in. What advice would you give her?
The best advice I ever received was, if you break it, don't worry, you can fix it. So at least you got the hard part out of the way.
I completely agree with you there. And the thing is, you get guys call you from a job and they're like, man, we've got a problem. We can't fix this. We can't do this. What are we going to do? I said, well, number one, you hadn't left yet. So you're not finished. So, it doesn't mean you couldn't get it. It means you haven't got it yet. So Jalen, let's go to you. 4-year apprentice or 4th month apprenticeship for a woman 21 years old. What piece of advice would you give her?
I would say take every day as a learning opportunity, no matter what you're doing. Even if you're cleaning copper for, the plumber that you're working with, use it as a learning experience. The best way for you to be a good leader is to be a good follower. And so that's helped me tremendously in becoming a foreman, is just all the time that I watched and I listened and I paid attention. Just watching my plumber, what he was doing and learning how to be a good helper, so that in the future you can train a new helper, a new plumber.
I love that. And I like the way you word it, because this is something I've talked about whenever I teach leadership. I teach people about how to get in the trades and then how to become the best tradesman they can. And one of the things whenever I talk about leadership, whenever I teach it, is first of all, you've got to be a good follower, because you have to understand how to follow direction. And what you learn from that is normally, how did that person put it to me to make me follow direction, which is great. But then you're also around them. You get to hear them communicate with others. You get to learn things from them. So I think that is fantastic. Lisa Esther Cardenas says, as a woman, I would love to learn how to handle clogs. I always get clogs. My family is very hairy. Do either one of y'all unclog your own drains at home, or do y'all have somebody do that for you?
I do it myself.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, always myself.
Good. And I love that. First of all, congratulations to y'all. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but I remember when I first got into the union, I was on lunch break one day, and they had this big dining room type area that we all ate in. And one of the plumbers there says, man, I'm fixing to get out of here. I got to go home and meet the plumber. And I'm like, well, what are you going home to meet a plumber for? He says, well, my toilet's running. I said, okay. He said, well, he's coming to fix it. I said, dude, can you not fix your own toilet? And he looked at me and he said, no, why? I said, do they not teach all that in the union? He says, no. He says, we just learn how to install the pipes and all that. So let's go first to you, Jalen. Lisa says, as a woman, I'd love to learn how to handle clogs. Any advice there?
Well, personally, like for showers, I use a tub shroom, or if I do get a clog, I snake it. But we have commercial stakes, so I think you can rent them at Home Depot.
You can rent those at a lot of different big box stores like that. I always recommend people buy the little top sink snake. Man, those are great. Sarah, what about you? What do you use to unstop your own drains?
I just, get some needle nose and get down there and get the hair out,
Whatever
nothing
it
too
takes.
fancy. Yeah, whatever it takes. But I would recommend, knowing, at least cleaning out your hair drains once a month. If you have a really hairy family, like you said, and finding out where how your plumbing work goes through your house. Where does it exit? Where are your clean outs, stuff like that.
I like that. Autumn says, do you ever plan on making videos on mechanical systems for plumbing? When you start getting into the mechanical system of it, that's normally a commercial type deal where you've got booster pumps, you've got different type deals. I've made made videos on the entire plumbing system, and we're actually working on another one like that right now. So we'll figure out what we got there. Right here says woman plumbing company owner. We do drain cleaning, hydro scrub, mainline replacement, drain fields, and such. Go, ladies. Congratulations, y'all. I think that's neat. M. Soroga says, all right, yeah, I tried to work it with a plunger, but no luck. Try to find a clean out. And if you can find a clean out, you can, if you've got clean outs there, you can pretty much get your drain unclogged if it's the right clean out. Antoinette K says, hello. And Abdul Kayumi says, for Sarah, I'm an electrician. What's it like doing HVAC? I only ran power to the systems.
Most of our troubleshooting calls are going to be low voltage. That's really where things kind of get a little tricky because you have so many different switches and whatnot, safety switches and whatnot. But for the most part, it should be a pretty smooth transition. We do, I don't know, about 60%, is electrical. Whether we're getting power ran to it, high voltage, low voltage, adding on different, pumps to it. It's a whole ball of wax.
Okay. And Jalen, do y'all do, or does your company do any HVAC work?
No, just gas for heating.
And I love that. So, well, and let's talk about that. Y'all do gas. So do you do threading? Do you do any of that, or just welding, or what?
It's threaded and welded.
Good for you. So are you good with your threading machine?
Yes. That was my favorite. That was one of the first big things I learned how to do. And it's what has always made me excited. I love doing gas pipe.
I think that's neat, and I do too. And I think it's really funny because, and maybe not funny is the right word, but we get a lot of people in here that, a lot of plumbers across the country don't do gas. Here in Texas, we do every bit of it from the meter all the way. So I think it's such a big deal. Okay, so local 38's in San Francisco. That makes sense. Kyle Ackerman, Sarah, you do a lot of residential stuff, HVAC, and I think you said you used to do service plumbing too. What is the one job or customer that you'll never forget?
I think I was with my dad. We used the electric eel to snake this drain. It was a clog. I walked back to the truck to go get 10 more feet of cable, and I have it on my back. And next thing you know, walking towards the house, my foot just falls into the ground. The lawnmower guy ran over the clean out and completely buried it. So nothing could exit the house. So when I walked in, I couldn't see it because it was just grass. I had put my foot in it, and the electric eel was actually right there coming from my foot. So it was, I'll never forget that. Always be careful where you step.
Absolutely. That's funny. It's a good thing you didn't hurt yourself, but yeah, that is kind of funny. Customers is pretty neat. Some of them can be very memorable. Blackjack M45 says, how do you remove a stainless steel screw stuck in a shower valve that was sheared off? Man, you got to try and get a real good drill bit, get in there and tap it and use an extractor on it. Abdul Kiyami says, I feel that way to get more people and young people in the trades is the money, but as well as having patience with them because some are very slow learners. So let's talk about this with y'all learning, because I get a lot of comments all the time that, hey, the journeymen that we work for, that they don't treat apprentices right. They treat them like they're stupid. They make them do all the hard work. They get mad at them for asking questions. Juggan, let's start with you. I'm assuming that you probably had pretty good training coming up as an apprentice.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And Sarah, you too?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep.
Do y'all ever see that with other companies or companies that you've worked for in the past, where maybe the journeymen don't treat apprentices as good as they should?
Definitely. I've had my fair share, people who don't want to teach me because I'm a woman or don't even want to talk to me. I've worked at some companies, where the guys wouldn't talk to me for 3-4 months, until they absolutely had to. Just take it with a grain of salt. It's not personal. It's just business, and keep moving on.
Good deal. Jalen, anything from you?
I think that the most important thing to do as an apprentice and as you're learning is figure out how people teach and ask to work with people who teach you the way that you can learn. So like I'm a kinesthetic learner. And so if someone says something to me, I sometimes struggle, or if I have to read to figure it out, I sometimes struggle, but me doing it, I learn really quickly. And so get with someone, have someone who's the person that's training you be the person that teaches the way that you learn.
I love that. So, and let me ask you this, because there's the question that just came in. It says HVAC plumber apprentice, how would you deal with a disgruntled journeyman that aren't willing to teach you? And I like what you said, Jalen. Hey, here's how I need to learn. How can you teach me? And have that conversation with them up front. It goes back to, like I said earlier, there's a lot of plumbers that we've worked with, or I've worked with in my past, that it's like, man, the best thing that I learned from them is how not to do things. I love having that conversation and just saying, look, I really want to learn. This is the best way I learn. What do you think? So I think it's fantastic. Plumber Works is a good one here. It says, hello, Roger. I work with women in the union, but when I was non-union for 5 years, hadn't seen a woman on site once. Now, luckily for me, I've seen women in all different aspects of the trades in different areas. Do y'all see a lot of women on the job? And Jenna, let's start with you.
I think it's definitely increasing. I'm seeing a lot more actual like tradeswomen, electricians and plumbers and HVAC and carpenters. I definitely see a lot more of that than I did when I first started. And I've only been doing it for 5 years, but I've definitely seen it increase in women on commercial sites, at least.
And Sarah, how about you?
I haven't had the pleasure of other women in the trades to work with. Not saying they're not out there. They're just a little harder to find up here.
So is that in any trade or just in y'all specific trades?
I'd say both for me. It's hard to find women.
And Jalen, the women that you've seen in the trades, and like I said, we're seeing more. Is it mainly plumbing? Is it electrical? Is it HVAC? Is it just kind of across the board?
I would say it's mostly like carpentry is where I've seen the most.
Like that. Kelly Anderson says, owner of my family plumbing and drain cleaning company. Mike Hadfield, first year plumbing helper here. Plumber Works, only 55 people applied to my union this year, lowest I've ever seen. And guys, here's the thing. And I mean, I want y'all to think about that. And Mike, I don't know where you're at. I'm sorry, Plumber Works. We are getting less and less people in the trades each and every year. And I think it's something we all, and I don't just mean, the three of us, but anybody watching this needs to start thinking, look, how can I recruit more people into the trades? Because it's something that if we don't do it, it's going to get to where people can't afford plumbers. Because if there's only 100 plumbers in Dallas, Texas, guess what? We're going to be charging whatever we want to charge. We're going to be making more than doctors, more than attorneys. And that's just plumbers. What about HVAC when it's 100 degrees outside and you can't get an HVAC company to come out because they're like, look, I just don't have anybody. It is going to get really expensive and crazy. Any woman wants a job in plumbing, come here to Minnesota. You can work under my master's license. That's James Brown. And it's funny because I had this conversation a couple of months ago. Somebody asked me, they said, Roger, if you could open any kind of plumbing business in Texas that specialized in anything, what would you do? I said, I would love to open an all-female plumbing company. The reason being, women are normally more self-conscious about everything they do. They are more detail-oriented, and that's why, look, three of the top plumbers in Texas are the executive director of the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiner. She's a master plumber. The former chief plumbing inspector in the city of Dallas. She's a master plumber and has every endorsement. And actually, I think Lisa does too. The third one is a master plumber, also a mechanical engineer, also owns her own continuing education company, and she also has every endorsement. And when you look at what women can do, I think, man, if I could have a fleet of women running service trucks, you're not going to have many callbacks because they're going to be detail oriented. They're going to check and double check. So, Sarah, let me ask you, do you have many callbacks?
It's very, very rare. Very rare.
And I love that because I think, and look, I don't mean it bad to men, but I think we get out there, we get in a hurry, we think, yeah, it's right, okay, bye. And man, I slow down and double check and triple check because I want to make sure I don't have a problem. But I love that attitude. Romero Dara says, I was working with the union guys. They do many things, but they don't really do plumbing right. And I got to tell you, some of them think that just because they went through that union training program, they do everything perfect, and doesn't always happen. Kyle Ackerman says, question for all three. Would you want your children to take on your job or find a different, better opportunity? So, Jalen, let's start with you. Would you want, do you want your kids to eventually be the fourth generation? Sarah, Jalen, did you mute yourself?
Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would hope so. I hope that one of my kids, I mean, I don't have any kids now, so I don't really know, but if they don't want it, I don't want that. I don't want to force it onto them. My parents never forced it onto me. I just really ended up loving it and kind of found where the place where I feel like I belong. And so I like my job. So if my kids, one day work for me and they don't like it, I'm not going to hold that against them.
Completely agree. Sarah, how about you?
Absolutely the same. I wasn't forced on me. I grew to love it. I'd want the same thing for my kids.
Good deal. Look, guys, I want to mention again, this video is sponsored by Ferguson. If you haven't been over there, go check out Ferguson.com. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, man, get on Facebook, find Ferguson, where they talk about stuff like this all the time. And let's talk about that real quick, because Jalen, tell me what it was like, or how'd you find out that you got nominated for Women in the Trades and that you won? You're one of the top women in the trades. You and Sarah, and then two other young ladies, Adrian and Louise. That's got to be a pretty good feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got the email that said that I was nominated and that voting was going to start. And I was just like, whoa, like this is cool. Like I had never even heard of it. So it was neat to have that experience. And then I was posting it on all my social media, like, hey, vote for me. And it was cool just to see the responses back from that, and then letting everybody know that I had won. And it was a cool experience. And I have a lot of support from my family and friends. And they really, helped me out and supported me through that. Yeah.
I love that. Look, I think it's neat. It's fantastic. Sarah, what's it mean to you? And I mean, how exciting was it when you got the email saying, hey, look, you won this thing, or you're in it?
I mean, it was definitely a surprise. Didn't see it coming. But it was great to know that, I have, some fans out there who think I'm worthy of an award for, being a woman in the trades. And just appreciate it. It's nice to have a spotlight on you when you're really, marginalized.
Yeah, I like it. And that's really what got me started in social media it's been 7 years now. American Standard picked me as the next expert plumber. And they had done a contest, and I made a video and turned it in. But then whenever I found out I got picked, it was like, okay, this is really crazy. So anyway, it was kind of neat. So, guys, look, first of all, everybody in here, we've got about 50 people in here right now. Do me a favor and put down in the comments where you're from and what you do, because I know not everybody that gets in here is plumbers or HVAC technicians or anything like that. So please put down in the comments where you're from and what you do. And if you like this, if you like the fact that we're here, we're talking about women in the trades, we're talking about plumbing and HVAC, do me a favor, give us a thumbs up, let me know. And if you hadn't shared this with anybody that you know that may know women in the trades, may know women that need to be in the trades, do me a favor, share this with them. Plumber Work says, when I get my license in June, I'd like to open a plumbing company focused on med gas in New Jersey. Better him than me. I want to do more than just med gas, but it is fun. James Brown says, talk to union, not my people, want to work. Seems like better to sit around. There's a lot of people, look, unions got good and bad things about it, but at the end of the day, they do great work, and I think they've got great training. So, James, I can't complain about it. Abdul Kiyumi says, I feel like people don't want to join because you got to have thick skin. When I first started doing electrical, my boss and journeyman would yell and not have patience with me. And man, there's a lot of people out there like that. But, when you get in, and Juggle, I'll ask you about it first. When you first get in, and people ask me about this all the time, I don't want to get in the trades because I don't know anything about it. Well, when I got into plumbing, I knew nothing about it. Now, y'all may have known a little bit more about it because your fathers were plumbers, your grandfathers were plumbers. But Jacqueline, let's start with you. Was it hard walking on that job your first day and knowing that you don't really know a lot about plumbing?
Absolutely. I was very intimidated. Even to this day, if, our projects last, from 2 months to 9 months, 10 months, depending on what we're building. So the first day I step on any new job, I'm definitely get nervous and scared a little bit, even though I've been doing it for a couple of years now. But it definitely can be intimidating and scary. But I think the best way to handle people who, are yelling or that don't have patience is to just exhibit grace. And I think that's something that women offer in a special way on a job site is, you're not going to see me screaming and yelling at somebody because no one would take me seriously if I did that. But if I show grace and can, have a calm, collected conversation, even though I'm frustrated or angry or someone broke something or whatever, if I can keep my composure, I think that adds a different, people start to respect you a little bit more. And I try to be very communicative with everybody that I work with. If I feel like, I'm not being trained or I'm not being taught something, I ask questions. And if it's not received well, then I just keep asking questions because, I can't do a job if I don't know the answers or if I can't figure it out.
I like that. Sarah, what about you?
I was in the Marines for 8 years, so I got pretty thick skin.
You never got screamed at or yelled at, did you?
Never, not once.
Never.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Roger.
Well, I was going to say, I talk to people about getting into tradespeople, or military people getting into the trades, because whenever they get out, a lot of them are like, look, I don't know what I'm going to go do. And I think the trades are phenomenal for them because, number one, their mental mindset, that they're already, look, I'm used to working hard. And I see the trades as such a great opportunity for them to come in, learn something, and eventually go and start their own company and, again, serve customers in a completely different way. What do you think, Sarah?
Oh, definitely. I completely agree. We definitely have a certain skill set that we bring to the job, that others can't bring just through the years of discipline and service that we have. It's definitely a unique set of skills.
Abdul says, one of my bosses was a female electrician who owned the company as well as a master electrician. That's wonderful. And look, there's a lot of female business owners out there that are doing great things. Plumber Work says, Roger, 4th year apprentice in my local just bought out one of our contractors for $500,000. I'm a first year apprentice now, but I did a non-union apprenticeship already and can take the master test in June. Look, this is one thing that I talk about all the time, and I want to ask both of y'all this. I try to teach people all the time about never stop learning, and I call it learn your way up. You can learn your way up out of any situation or any position you're in. And Sarah, let's start with you this time. Do you continue to learn? Do you keep educating yourself? Do you keep learning more to help you grow? Or, once you get your license and you'll get your HVAC this next week, do you stop there? Do you say, okay, look, I've got my license, I'm good. I want to be a journeyman. Here I go. Or do you keep learning?
You stop learning, you stop growing. So I want to continue to grow. I plan in the next couple months, going to school to get my bachelor's or master's in mechanical engineering. It's just going to keep going. There's just no reason to stop.
Jalen, I know you're learning, but what about you? Do you plan on slowing down any?
No. I think that there's, construction is such a fast-paced industry and things change, and there's new, material and all kinds of new things happening in the plumbing world. And so if you stop learning now, then you're never going to be successful in the future because things are not going to be the same.
Completely agree. Daniel's Crazy Gaming says Tennessee and a master plumber. Good for you. Kyle says, I'm from Egypt and I work as a graphics designer online. Not going to lie, I don't really know much about plumbing, but still enjoy learning. And that's the thing about this is it doesn't matter what trade you're in. It doesn't even matter if you're in a trade. Learning and education can take you up to the next level in anything you do. So, man, people, if y'all are out there, just don't stop learning. Safe Moon Stoner says, I work with porta potties, but my apprentice test is in 1 month at the local 62. And it's really funny because I had a plumber here in Dallas reach out to me and he worked for me on one of my projects. And he called me one night and said, hey, will you run down and look at this? So I get there and look at it and start talking to him. And he says, Roger, I'm thinking about investing in a porta potty business. And I said, okay. And he said, I figured you'd start laughing. I said, well, I mean, if you're thinking about investing, and I'm assuming there's a good reason. And he literally said, Roger, there's 7 people that own porta potty businesses here in the Dallas area. And each one of them are millionaires now. There's a lot of money in it and they do really good at it. They said, what do you think about it? Do you think it's bad? I'm like, man, if you can do anything and become a millionaire, you're doing okay. I mean, let me ask y'all this. And Jalen, I'll start with you this time. Do you have to deal with poop often? And I know that's a funny question. I know we laugh about it because we get asked a lot, but there's a lot of people that I know, they're like, well, I will never be a plumber because I don't want to have to deal with poop. And it's like, you know what? It may happen about once every year or so. How about you?
I have personally never in the 5 years that I've been a plumber or an apprentice and plumber, I've never had to deal with poop. So I do strictly new construction or new commercial construction. So you're not really dealing with that too much.
How about you, Miss Sarah?
Oh yes. I'm very intimate with that part of plumbing. I mean, my dad used his pocket knife for everything. I mean, from cutting, clearing out, clean outs to, you name it. And then he would just wipe it off and, go home and stick it in the butter and put it on his bread, like I don't know, family of plumbers. It's nothing that scares us.
And that's why it's like, you know what? I remember when I was an apprentice, I jumped in a ditch and it was about waist deep. And it had raw sewage in it, and we're trying to make a patch. And I mean, here I am, I've got my head up, keeping my head and face and mouth out of the water, and I'm bending down trying to slide a Fernco gasket in place. And I'm just like, look, somebody's got to do it, and I'm young, dumb, and stupid, so let me go first. So working with porta potties to me would be no big deal. Alex M says, what do things look like when it comes to plumbing and trade schools? tell me this: if y'all had somebody reach out to you in your area, and Sarah, we'll start with you. Somebody reaches out to you up in Colorado and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting in the trades, whether it's plumbing, electrical, HVAC, really doesn't matter to me. I'm thinking about getting into the trades." Would you recommend them to go to work for an open shop company? Would you recommend them to look at the union, to possibly look at a PHCC training program? What would you recommend somebody in your area?
Well, if they don't really know, exactly what they're good at, or don't know exactly what, particular field in HVAC they want to work in, I would tell them, to go to an open shop, become an installer, and start to learn the equipment. That way you can know the ins and outs of it, how it works, how it's all put together. That way, when it comes to troubleshooting, you can just work with it, blindfolded. You'll know the equipment so well.
All right. And Miss Jaylyn, what about you? What do you think?
I would agree. I would say, or a small shop or open shop, just because I think that you get a lot of really useful on the job training when you're kind of just thrown into it and you have to learn and quickly. And I think you also figure out what you like and what you don't like. And if I think it's less of a commitment, if that makes any sense, than joining the union.
Okay. How strong are the unions in your area? How strong are they there in Denver? Do y'all work around them a lot or deal with them a lot, Jaylyn, or what do y'all do? How's it work?
We work with a lot of different companies that are union on each project, but I would probably say that plumbing is less strong in the union here.
Okay. And Miss Sarah, you're in DC, and I know that's the home of every union. How strong is the union presence in plumbing and HVAC out there?
In Denver?
I'm sorry, Denver. Yeah, sorry, she's in DC.
I'm in DC.
It's pretty strong. I've gotten a couple offers to go work for the union. It's some pretty good offers. I just really enjoy the company I'm at now and doing what I do.
I love that. And talking about this is great because the next question rolls into Tyler House says, "Hey, Roger, this has nothing to do with today's stream topic, but I used your older videos and the getting into the trade streams, and I just found out I got into my local union pipe fitters apprenticeship. Number one, congratulations. Look, plumbers and pipe fitters, steam fitters, it's a good union. It's a good program. It's good training. If you want to be a commercial plumber, fitter, welder, any of those, it's a good deal for you. So I'm happy for you. Next is, "Hi, I'm so sad for no reason." Love that name. Journeyman plumber union out of local 562, and I love it. James Brown says, "Roger, I'm really happy for the ladies. When I started like you 40 years ago, we did lead and oakum cast iron drains and big, I guess, still heavy stuff. Now plastic pro press, pretty easy. Now in good money. Glad I'm retired." Have either one of y'all done lead and oakum joints?
Once.
Once?
I've watched it being done.
Yeah. One of the very first jobs I was on as an apprentice when I first started, we were still pouring lead and oakum, so it was kind of interesting. Homework says Andy's 28 years old. I guess it's from the one earlier. It says 28 years old and finishing up his apprenticeship. David Wheeler, pay close attention. And this is so true right here. Never stop learning. Don't cuss. That's great advice. Now, y'all are women on a construction site. And Sarah, it's probably easier for you because construction workers and military tend to use a lot of the same language. Are you ever out on a job site and you're just like, man, the way these guys talk blows my mind? Or are y'all just like used to it by now?
Oh, I'm so used to it. It's not, it doesn't even faze me anymore. It's not a thing.
Jaylyn, how about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. Some older guys who I've known for a couple years, like from other jobs and stuff, they are a lot more respectful around me. But yeah, no, it's just normal.
I've got to tell you, I was speaking at a conference up in Whitefish, Montana. There's a group called 365 Driven. If y'all have never heard of it, it is phenomenal. But one of the speakers up there, Miss Lauren Johnson, used to be the mental mindset coach for the New York Yankees. And, when they first brought her in, they're all walking on eggshells around her. They don't know what to say, don't know what to do. And finally, one of the coaches walks in and he slides his sheet of paper across her desk and says, "Hey, can I say these words in front of you?" And she looks down and she reads this list of words and she says, "As long as you're not calling me any of these names, it's fine to use these words in front of me." So I do. I like that. And you do.
Yeah.
You show respect to people. And it's not just women. It's, when you're in a superintendent meeting, you don't get mad and scream and yell and cuss and things like that. Carry it that way out into the field too. Understand that we really all should respect each other and treat each other like that every day. Abdul Kiyumi says, "Roger, when are you coming here to Sacramento? I want to meet you." And I'm not actually coming to Sacramento anytime soon, but I'm coming to Lake Tahoe. I'm speaking there at PHCC. God, is it later this month or beginning of next month? Jaylyn, are you involved with PHCC or any kind of formal training for plumbing, electrical, HVAC, or anything like that?
No, but I am in school for construction engineering, so all of my training has been on the field.
And
Or
you're
studying.
going to Maryland?
What?
And you're going to Maryland?
Yes.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Got service plumbers here. Abdul says, "Saw your bidet toilet video. You should see the one in Japan. The toilet plays music as well as lights up." Now, I haven't seen the one that plays music, but I do love my bidet toilet seat. So let me ask you this: is women in the trades, because normally it's guys that are laughing at me. Do y'all have a bidet toilet seat installed at your house? Either one of you?
No.
I got one of the fancy Kohlers that has all the buttons.
The blow dryer, the
gadgets.
remote control.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So Sarah, if you
big.
haven't seen my video, we just released that video either Friday or today. So I did an install video for that, and it's the Kohler. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It's funny because when the rest of the country was fist fighting at Walmart over toilet tissue, I just go by and say, "I'm betting on her. See y'all later. Bye." I had my toilet seat at home, so I wasn't worried about it. I think they're great, though. Cedric Teagle says, "Any advice for a pretty green first year working in high-rise residential and any extra resources you might know of to learn more?" So, Jaylyn, you're more of a commercial. Do y'all do a lot of high-rise? You said you're normally on a job up to 9 months, so I'm assuming they're not 50-story high-rises in downtown DC or anything.
Well, actually, the project that I'm working on now is in downtown DC, and it is like a tenant fit-out space. Mm-hmm. So I work around a lot of people who are in the high-rises, but I'm just working in the tenant space right now. But I would say the best resource that you can get is get yourself an international plumbing code and an international gas fitters code and start studying. That's the best way you're going to learn, and probably the easiest way you're going to learn.
And I take those code books, and it's neat, like the study guide, and I've got the IPC study guide, the UPC study guide. I'll go to the back where the answers are, go through and highlight nothing but the correct answers. And then I'll go through and I'll read it like a novel, where you read the question, the correct answer, the question, the correct answer. And man, by the time I'm through studying for an exam, I've got it. And I think those work great. Do you have any tricks? And Jaylyn, let's start with you. Do you have any tricks that you're going to use to study or have used to study to help you pass your license exams or anything like that?
I think a lot of the training that I got was, based off of code. And so when I was first starting off, I would ask like, why is it graded this way? Or why does this stuff matter? And so I was taught and trained and showed like, this is what this means and this is how you do it. And this is why it works. So when I started studying for my journeyman test, which I'm taking next month, when I started studying for that and reading the code book, I was like, oh, I know this because we do this every day. Or, oh, I know this because I can figure out the math, or I can figure this out. And so it's definitely helped just asking questions every day. If you don't understand something, ask until someone shows you or you do understand. And, sometimes that takes like personal, go home and look up YouTube videos or, read other plumbing textbooks and stuff like that. That's definitely helped me.
Sarah, how about you?
Well, the big one that we have to take is the 608. There's lots of apps out there. There's some free apps. You can get the book. They give you a book when you purchase the test. You can read that, but I found that the apps are the free apps are where it's at to get retain that knowledge.
I like this. Plumber Work says, my first service call on my own, I got blasted in the face by a broken discharge from a basement bathroom sewage ejection pump. That is christening into the plumbing trade. Welcome. You're a full-blown licensed technician now. Kahinde Abiodun says, greetings from here, sir. I am Kende from Nigeria. I have been so educated with your page and videos. Thank you. Ryan says, I work for a small all-round plumbing company. Service, residential, commercial, rough ends, and HVAC. Shooting myself in the foot by not finding specialized niche in the plumbing trades. And I love that because, my company here in the Dallas area is a residential service company, but we started specializing in slab leak and leak detection. And man, I think that has been phenomenal for us. Sarah, do the companies you work for tend to specialize in one or two things, or are they a broader, man, look, we just kind of do it all and make it all fit?
It's got a good middle ground. We do residential, commercial, and industrial. I do believe we do specialize in hydronics for the most part, but any more specific than that, no.
Cool. Stacy J says, I'm a female plumber out of local 525 in Las Vegas. So see, there are a lot of females in the trades. Let me correct that. There's not a lot. There's getting to be more. Okay. So I don't want to water that down. But still, we need more. We have a lot of people, and I always hate this whenever I hear people tell kids, look, if you don't go to college, you're not going to amount to anything. I know a lot of tradespeople that are millionaires and multimillionaires. You don't have to go to college for that. If one of y'all had a young lady, because Stacy's a lady here, that y'all didn't know, you got online in some social media group and somebody says, hey, Sarah, look, I'm graduating high school next week. My parents will pay for me to go to college, but I really want to be a plumber. What would you recommend? What would you tell them? How do they have that conversation with their parents?
Well, it wasn't really a conversation in my family. It was kind of something that was kind of expected. It was expected. So for me, it was easy, but for other people, I know not a lot of people, they kind of look down on trade workers sometimes, thinking that it's not as good of a job, compared to people who go and get a college degree, whatever. But I would tell them, that especially if you're a woman, that you're going to be able to help yourself. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to rely on other people. You're going to be able to rely and depend on yourself. You're going to be self-efficient, self-driven. I work on my own cars, do my own plumbing, do my own HVAC. I don't really go out and, hire anybody else to do anything for me unless I absolutely have to. So I would, tell them, it's my way of being self-sufficient and, coming to help out the family, one day, when Aunt Susie has, a freezer that breaks down or something, you'll be an asset in the long run.
Isn't that neat? I did a video here just recently about being good at just fixing stuff. And, Jagan, let me ask you, do you fix stuff around your house or your apartment or do you love the fact that it's like, hey, I can fix that. Don't call anybody. Or are you like that? Or are you like, look, just call somebody. I don't want to mess with it.
No, I'm definitely fix it myself. I work on my own truck and work around my house and do stuff. But that's also part of like the way I was raised. My father was a plumber and had worked in construction, and he didn't call anybody to fix anything. So a lot of the time I was his helper, and I got to learn from my dad of how to do things, how to change my oil, how to change a tire, how to fix and like a clog drain in your sink, and how to do all that kind of stuff. So I'm grateful for that experience.
I think it's amazing because, and I know Sarah and I had this conversation earlier. It's like, look, when my dad went out to work on the cars, he called me, and that's how I learned to fix things around the house, work on cars, stuff like that. So it was a blast. Abdul says, hey, Roger, would you ever go live on Fridays instead of Mondays? Probably not, just because I've started building this community here on Mondays, and we get a lot of people in here. If you like what you're hearing so far, if you like the fact we've got women in the trades, I think that's so amazing. Give us a thumbs up. And if you really like this, or you think that people that need to hear it, man, share this video with them. Dude 3240 Gaming says hello. And then Rich Micaiah, how are you? Good to see you in here. Abdul Kiyami says, Roger, how old are you? I am too old, but I still love what I do every day. Christopher says, Roger, I've been missing your lives for the past week as I've been working super late lately. Good to see you again. Welcome back. Good to have you in here. Hey, Roger, don't mind me asking, but what age will you stop doing plumbing or retire? And, this is really a good question because I'm slowing down on the plumbing end. Jalen, let me ask you, does your dad still get out and plumb every day, or is he more in the office overseeing, taking care of things, making sure things are done right?
So currently I'm on the first job as a foreman. So my dad is my lifesaver. So he comes out to our jobs. He kind of acts as a superintendent now, comes out to every job and checks on progress and stuff. And he does still work when he needs to, or if I need help, or if anybody needs help, like any of our other foremen on other projects, my dad will still go out and work. But for the most part, he's doing a lot of the supervising and saving the day.
Good. Miss Sarah, how about you? How about your dad?
He's late 60s, early 70s, and still installing, breaking ground, laying new pipe, you name it.
And is your dad still in Texas?
Yep, he's in Texas, down in Edinburgh, McAllen area.
Yeah, we discussed that earlier. That's really North Mexico for everybody who's just asking. It is that far south. Look, I love it down there. I think it's amazing. So that's neat. My thing is, and I'm not going to say that I'm retiring because I still love getting out. I still love doing things. I'm not out running a truck every day. Now I spend more time making videos, doing social media, telling people about the trades, trying to tear stuff up. Trying to prove things in the back. I have fun. Those of y'all that hadn't seen it, I've got a new studio I just built on the other side of this wall that is actually a cool little workshop. And man, I love having fun. Plumber Work says, my parents didn't approve of me being a plumber at first, but after making them understand how successful I can become, yeah, they were on board. I love that. Abdul says, would you ever sell Texas Green Plumbing later on? Well, the truth is I sold it 5-6 months ago, and now I'm part ownership in HVAC / plumbing company. So I've already done that and great things. Matt McDonough, Mr. Miyagi Plumbing. What's up? So let me ask you this. Do y'all do much on social media? Sarah, let's start with you. Do you do much on social media? Do you have like a LinkedIn, a Facebook, a YouTube, Instagram, anything like that where you post what all you do?
I have a TikTok where I post some work videos, just daily installs or, replacements, stuff like that.
I love that. So what is your TikTok handle so people can find you?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I don't post enough to find out. Let's see what my TikTok handle is.
Yes, we need to figure out what's your name so I can tell people that way they can try to find you.
Sarah Esperanza 8.
Sarah Esperanza 8.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to figure out.
ESPERANZA. It's just Hope in Spanish. Sarah Hope.
Uh-huh. And you
Sarah
said
Hope 8.
15,000 followers. Is that you?
Probably not.
No, that says Sarah Speranza. I was going to say the way she's dressed. I don't think that's you. All right, so I will try to find you later. Then it's not coming right up, but you can also send me a link. Okay, so
Yeah.
Jalen, what about you? Are you on social media?
I am on Instagram. I post videos of me working and stuff. It's fun working on my car or my truck and working at regular work.
I don't know if y'all can do it, but if y'all can get in here and put in the comments, your link or the link to either your Instagram, your TikTok, anything like that, where other people can find it. That way they can follow you and see what all y'all do. I think that's fantastic. So before y'all got invited to do this, had you ever seen me on YouTube or TikTok or any of that?
I had not, but as soon as I heard of you, I went on and watched a bunch of your videos.
So then you figured out who I was.
Yes.
That's cool. I like that though. Okay, so and the reason I ask is, so you've seen some of my videos. Do you like what I'm doing?
Yes.
Recruiting for the trades, telling people about it. I mean, look, stuff I talk about is stuff we do every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think people should know how to do themselves so they can actually take care of their own plumbing. But what my hope and dream is too is that hopefully one day some young lady watches that and says, oh my gosh, I can do that. I want to do it. And it's neat because there's a young lady on YouTube called Little Miss Fix It. And she is a doll. And in her third video, I was on the cover of the PHCC magazine a few months back. And literally she starts off her video and she's sitting here and she's holding the magazine. She's like, oh my gosh, it's Wakefield. And I mean, man, I just, my heart melted. I'm like, I love this girl. But here's what's neat about it is she literally, and I'm going to try to find her channel real quick just so I can put a link to it up here. She literally does videos on how to change out a dishwasher. Let me explain thermodynamics to you, whatever it is. And I mean, I've got to tell you, she is fantastic. And I found the link, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll copy and paste that in here because this is to her channel. But she is just somebody I've enjoyed watching what she does, and man, y'all want to see a young lady that just loves to have fun. It's pretty cool. So I put that in there in case y'all want to click on it. She is worth watching. Greg Berry says, what water heater should I put in my 1,300 square foot cabin? And if I had a cabin and I probably wasn't there often, I would probably go to something like a tankless water heater. Doesn't need to be anything real big. 1,300 square feet. I'm assuming there's not, 10 bathrooms and walk-in showers and stuff like that. I would go something small that's going to be very efficient and only use gas when I'm there. Charles CJ Lemaire says, Roger, I have a 35-year-old American Standard toilet. Never replaced one part in that toilet. That's when things were made good. Look, American Standard is one of the very first people I ever worked with that literally put me in front of people. I was doing social media for them, doing a bunch of things because of the contest. So I loved it. Abdul says, why did you sell your business and are you still majority holder? No, I sold my business. I'm a minority holder. The company that I sold to was 10 times bigger than me. So we broke down to part percentages, part cash. Here's your buyout. Here's what it looks like. But the reason I did it, it frees me up and allows me to get to talk to women in the trades and find out what makes their life wonderful. And to me, man, I do. I think that we get to live the most amazing life. Rich McKay says, why'd you sell? Because it freed me up. And then I've got my post there. So, oh, there you go, Sarah. Thank you very much. And I will go ahead and see. I think I can copy these. Is it okay with y'all if I put these in the regular chat? Okay. I want to help y'all out. Okay, so there is Sarah's name on TikTok. And if I go right here. All right. And that has Jalen's name in there. I'll say that. I'm waiting for it. There it goes. And Jalen's on Instagram and Sarah is on TikTok. So got a few more comments and then we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up. Kimberly J says, hey, Roger, would like to know what tool you recommend to take the ferrule off of the copper piping at my toilet shut-off valve. Thank you. Man, I'm fixing to do a video on that because I've got 2 or 3 of them. I've got one in my office that I literally ordered it because it looked like the coolest tool to do it. So I will be doing a video on those real soon. So Miss Kimberly, check it out. Unless you need something quick, then shoot me a message. Or either one of y'all on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Cool. I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I think it's a great place to help grow your businesses. Don Shrews says, hey, Roger, shout out from Montreal. How long did it take for you to start marketing your company as a more specialized in a certain domain over being a general service? Or did you start as a specialist? I really started out the plumbing company as a plumbing company. We tried branding it as being green. I'm a lead AP, so I believe in water, energy, or water conservation, energy conservation, anything that we can do to make our future better for our younger generation. So that was a big deal to me. And I started realizing we can't just brand ourselves as a green company. Nobody wants to buy green plumbing because they think it's more. It's like, look, we do regular plumbing. We're just trying to help you save money. And so I knew that I wanted to do slab leaks and leak detection as a specialty. So once we really started doing that, buying all the right equipment and getting better at it, that's what we started doing. So it worked out really good. Peter State says, hey, Roger, I'm an apprentice from Ghana at the age of 25, and it's left with my last year to complete my apprenticeship. And would it be advisable to raise female plumbers as your apprentice? Let me ask y'all this. Do y'all have any female apprentices that work at the companies that y'all work at, first of all? And then second, how were you as a female apprentice? What were you good? Were you knowledgeable? Were you wanting to learn, showing up every day? And I know, Jalen, you said, look, I ask questions all the time, and that was me. Plumbers hated me because it wasn't, even when I became a bartender later, if I watched a bartender make something, I'm like, dude, what did you make? How did you make it? How many ounces of this? How many ounces of this? And it was all night. And they're like, dude, just quit asking questions. It's like, yeah, but I want to learn. So Sarah, let's start with you. Do you have any female apprentices that work at the companies you're at? And how were you as an apprentice? I guess you're muted, Sarah.
Sorry, I was saying that we don't have any female apprentices currently, but I was that pesky 3-year-old that kept asking, why? Anytime I saw something getting done and I couldn't understand it, I was always asking questions. Very, very thirsty for knowledge. Wanting to know, why and how, all those things. I was very studious. Still very attentive to my customers, to lead members on the jobs, just hungry to learn and do the right thing.
I love that. And I think that's the best attitude to have. Jalen, how about you?
I am the only female in the field that works for our company. But I would say that a big part of me being a good apprentice was the fact that I grew up with a dad who I was always his helper. And so I learned how to be, again, a good helper, and that, being able to think 3 steps ahead of the person that's training you and getting to a place where you see them do it once and remember, and you're like, okay, he needs this tool next, or he needs this piece cleaned, or he needs this, you definitely like learn a lot by just watching the person that's training you. So I definitely feel like at least for the first like 3 years of me being in the field, I was like a sponge trying to soak up and ask questions and talk to people all day. Just like, why does it work this way? Why, it was definitely an awesome learning experience and able to grow and push me to be a good leader and someone who could step up and potentially be, my employee's boss one day when I get the chance to take over the company.
I love that. And, I'm right there with you. I like that because I used to love the apprentice that they knew what you needed next. They literally, I still remember one of the best apprentices I ever have. I'm hooking up some fan coil units, and I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, I need one more 1/2 inch 90. And I literally turned down to holler at him. And he's standing here. He's got 2 1/2 inch 90s. They're already cleaned. There's a short piece of copper. There's everything right here. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. So I think that's neat. Rich McKay says, as a professional, do you ever shop at the home centers or strictly the supply houses? And as a residential service provider, we do end up having to go to the big box stores every time. I love the fact that when I run in Lowe's, I know that I've got parking right there by the front door. I can get in, get what I need. I've got contractor checkout. I know where everything is. I think that's neat. Sarah, I'll ask you, do you ever have to run into the big box stores or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So the supply houses, they only sell copper by the 10-foot stick. So if I just need like 3 feet, I'm going to be running to Home Depot or Lowe's and looking for that small piece of copper that I need. Or just, tools. They're way cheaper at big box stores than they are at supply houses. So it's usually my first shop.
I think that's neat. And Jalen, do you, as a big mechanical contractor or big commercial company, you probably try to stay as far away from the box stores as you can, because you're ordering in bulk and hopefully having everything out there when you need it. Do you guys ever have to run down to the big box stores for anything, or probably not?
When we're starting to finish up a project and we might need like one fitting or like a barb fitting or compression fittings or something like that, sometimes we'll just run to Home Depot or Lowe's. But for the most part, we order everything in bulk and order, weeks prior to when we're planning on doing install.
I love that. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of neat stuff out there. It's getting time for me to finish this thing up. I want to jump in here. Michael Strain says, hey, Roger, what all would you recommend on doing my own gas line for a gas stove in my kitchen and tie into the existing gas line yourself? Number one, depending on where you're at, pull a permit, get an inspection, make sure you do it right and legal. I don't know what state you're in, what part of the country you're in. I know where Jalen is, where I'm at. Plumbers do natural gas legally. It's part of our job. Sarah, do the plumbers in Denver do natural gas, or is that somebody else?
No, yes, they do. They do natural gas, propane, you name it.
I love that. Sean Strong, one of my moderators, just jumped in. Says, "Don't you hate it when you reset your phone and forget to set all your alarms? Sorry, I'm late. Who are these lovely people?" I have actually got Sarah and Jalen. These are women that were, I guess y'all weren't just nominated. You actually won the Women in the Trades contest for Ferguson. I think that is fantastic. And man, Sean, you've missed one. You really need to come back and watch it. Not only do they understand what they're doing, but man, from talking to them, they're going to be great. Kimberly J, you are welcome. Abdul Kayumi says, "Hey, Roger, is your son ever going to own his own company?" Probably not, but that's up to him. Don Shu says, "I would love to see more women in plumbing in school," which was a while ago. When I was in school. There were other trades around, and they had a lot of women learning in plumbing. Sadly, there was zero. There weren't a lot of women in the shop classes that I was in when I was in high school, so don't know what to tell you. Rich McKay says, "What about quality from the Harmon Center?" We don't have the Harmon Center here. Oh, Home Center. You know, if you're buying certain fittings, the quality is about the same. As for fixtures, water heaters, stuff like that, just check into what brand you're getting and see what quality level it is. Don Shrew says, "Michael Strain, if you aren't a carded gas tech, I'd highly recommend having one do the job. Small gas leak can cause tremendous damage and be fatal, and insurance as well. Absolutely." So, ladies, first of all, congratulations to y'all. I've got to tell you, I think that it's phenomenal what you got nominated for, what you got picked as. Sarah, HVAC, I love it. I thoroughly enjoyed going to school, learning after, God, 40, 30 something years of plumbing, to go back to school and get my HVAC certification. I thought it was phenomenal. So congratulations to you. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody here before you get out of here?
If you're a company owner, one good thing about having females in the trades is that your customers want it. Most people who call are women who are home alone during the day, and they appreciate another woman coming into their home and getting everything fixed for them. You know, for some of them, they've told me that they feel a lot safer, and they appreciate talking one-on-one to somebody who is not going to talk down to them. So there's a real human element there that you're missing out on. You should hire more women.
Man, hire them, bring them in, train them as apprentices. That way you teach them your systems and processes. Sarah, thank you very much. I think that's phenomenal. Jalen, how about you?
I would just say that if you are trying to figure out if you want to get into trades, that plumbing is a really awesome opportunity, regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. And I would just say keep pressing on and keep learning.
I love that keep learning part. Again, I want to say thank you both for being here. It's been such a pleasure to talk to y'all and hear the way you see the trades, the way you got into it, the way you look at it. I do think it's neat. I would absolutely love to reach out to each one of y'all too. I've got another podcast that I'm working on, another YouTube channel, but also a magazine. And, I'd definitely be interested in y'all too, possibly writing an article about women in the trades. I think it's phenomenal. So I want to, just take that time and say thank y'all very much for everything y'all are doing, not just for being on the show, but in the trades in general. So thank you both very much. I want to remind everybody this video is sponsored by Ferguson. I'm going to jump back in the chat real quick. Yes, we do have a big Discord group. That is fantastic. And Kimberly says, "Congratulations, Jalen and Sarah." Guys, here's the deal. We are in the most wonderful trade in the world, I think. I want to say a special thank you to Ferguson for sponsoring the videos. And, man, bringing these women in. Women in the trades to me, and those of y'all that have seen my channel before, I think it's a phenomenal deal. I think that we all need to not only be recruiting, but be recruiting women, because a lot of them think I could never do that. And as we've seen and heard tonight from two wonderful women in the trades, I think that's a big possibility. So make sure that we are recruiting, we are talking to people about it, and we are doing everything that we should be and could be to help people get in here. So I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you did, please remember, give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe. Please ring the bell so you don't miss out on anything. I'm Roger Wakefield, lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.